Real Madrid often brings back the coaches who have previously worked at the club. Zinedine Zidane has not refused such an opportunity as well, though it were just 10 months ago he had left Estadio Santiago Bernabéu. During this time, the former superstar and 3-time Champions League winner with Real Madrid managed to recharge the batteries, spend time with his family, and shoot several advertising campaigns. At the same time, Real Madrid has sacked 2 coaches, lost all El Clásico games, and miserably dropped out of all the title races. We have no idea what Florentino Perez has promised to Zidane, but the latter has returned. And to commemorate this occasion, Football Geeks recall 7 former Real Madrid managers who did the same. Subscribe to our channel and let's kick off! Number 7. Jacinto Quincoses. First, let's dig deep enough. The first coach to manage Real Madrid, leave his post and later return to it, was the Spaniard Jacinto Quincoses. Most of his football career, Quincoses spent at the Las Blancas side, where he eventually hung up his boots. He was considered one of the best central defenders of the pre-war era. For the first time, he became the head coach of Real Madrid in the 1945-1946 season, during which he won the Spanish Cup. Then came the resignation. He again joined the Las Blancas in 1947, but the poor results quickly led to the second dismissal in 1948. Number 6. Baltasar Albéniz. Perhaps the most unknown Real Madrid manager is Baltasar Albéniz. He played at the professional level just 5 seasons and did not reach formidable heights. After finishing his playing career, he immediately delved into coaching. Over 35 years of coaching, he became a good specialist for many La Liga middle peasants, but not for Real Madrid. For the first time, he headed the Las Blancas just after the first resignation of Quincoses. He coached the Royal Club from 1946 to 1947 and came back to the team in October 1950. Albéniz's final resignation followed in March 1951. In his first coming, he won the Spanish Cup. In the second, nothing. By the way, Baltasar Albéniz got to the history of La Liga by the fact that he 3 times came back to manage Osasuna. Number 5. Luis Malovni. The ex-midfielder of Real Madrid and one of the main stars of the post-war period, Luis Malovni is the record holder by the number of returns to Real Madrid. He 4 times managed the club. His initial appointment took place in 1974 when he replaced the legendary Miguel Muñoz. However, the first spell turned out to be short-term. He managed the team just for 16 matches and won only 8 of them. Malovni returned to the club in 1977 and won the league title for 2 seasons in a row. He then resigned in 1979. In 1982, he again was put in charge of the Las Blancas for just 4 games as the interim replacement for the dismissed Riadin Boshkov. In 1985, Malovni for the last time took the helm of the native club and managed it for a year. He won the La Liga and the UEFA Cup. After that, Malovni transited to the post of Real Madrid sporting director. Number 4. Alfredo Di Stefano. One of the best players of the 20th century, the legendary Di Stefano had 2 attempts with Real Madrid, but he didn't even get close to those heights as when he was a player. After finishing his career, Alfredo coached in Argentina for some time, and then he moved to Spain. But Di Stefano could become a Real Madrid head coach only 20 years later, in 1982. One of the worst seasons fell on his reign. Las Blancas lost everything. They finished 3rd in the league, were defeated in the Copa del Rey, and in the European Cup they lost against the Aberdeen. Di Stefano was given a long-term credit as club's legend, but nevertheless he was forced to resign in 1984. In November 1990, he was put in charge of Real Madrid for the second time, but failed again and was dismissed in March 1991, having won just the modest Supercopa de España. Number 3. Leo Beenhakker. The Dutch coach Leo Beenhakker is one of the very few Real Madrid managers who did not have a serious playing career behind his back. He didn't play for professional teams at all. However, Leo spent a lot of time side by side with the legendary Rinus Michels, and it was a huge experience. Year after year, Beenhakker climbed from the bottom of the Dutch football system, becoming the head coach of the Netherlands national team. After that, he was invited to Real Madrid, which he managed from 1986 to 1989. During this time, he won 3 league titles, retiring only to head the Amsterdam Ajax, a top-notch football force of that time. In 1991, he returned to Real Madrid, but after just a few months, he was dismissed for unsatisfactory results. Since then, his coaching career has declined. Number 2. Jan Tashek. Jan Tashek is the former Welsh footballer and manager whose latest team was Iranian Traktor-Sazi FC. The greatest fame as the player Tashek received in the 70s at Liverpool side. After ending his career, he worked with Spanish clubs for a long time. The Welshman was invited to Real Madrid just after Ben Hager's forced retirement, when the club won 3 consecutive league titles and was considered the strongest Real Madrid in the last 25 years. Tashek took the 4th La Liga title in a row, but failed the start of the next season and was dismissed in November 1990. For some unknown reasons, he was brought back to Estadio Santiago Bernabéu in February 1989 from the Turkish Beşiktaş, with which he won the National Cup but poorly started the first half. The Turks were even compensated for the early contract termination. Tashek finished the season evenly but failed in the next one and was sacked. Number 1. Fabio Capello. The last one to return to Real Madrid was the stubborn Italian Fabio Capello. He was put in charge of the Las Blancas in July 1996. The Italian won the La Liga title but was criticized by the club's president and fans for very pragmatic football. Due to this, he decided to leave the team. 10 years later, in 2006, he returned to Real Madrid. It was another team with another president, but the results were the same. He was sacked at the end of the season despite securing a league title. The reason? The Champions League failure in the round of the last 16. As you can see, there are no examples of successful returns in the history of Real Madrid. We hope that Zidane will not regret his decision, because there is a huge difference between managing the club at the career peaks of Ronaldo and Luka Modric and between being responsible for total rebuilding. What do you think about Zizou's chances of making the second spell successful? Let's discuss this in the comments, and do not forget to subscribe to our channel.